What is up? I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving holiday. But before we get started, I just want to tell you guys to hit that subscribe button. Like, comment, share this with your friends and family, and to continue to support my channel. I'm sure as you guys know by now, Kirk Cousins did not play very good over the weekend against the LA Chargers. He threw 4 interceptions, and the guy's been in a rut right now. He's been in a rut these last 3 games. He's yet to throw for a touchdown pass, and he's thrown 6 interceptions. And right now, he leads the NFL in turnovers with 13 interceptions. And so it's not looking good for Kirk Cousins, and it's kind of wild, to be frank, because it wasn't that long ago in which Kirk Cousins was actually looking fantastic for this Atlanta Falcons football team. But that hasn't been the case as of late. He has struggled, and what really disappointed me in that game against the LA Chargers was the fact that not only did he just throw 4 interceptions, but he was very inaccurate with the ball. He wasn't making good decisions. Every throw was either too high or too low, and he missed some opportunities. And quite frankly, Kirk Cousins single-handedly lost the Falcons that game. And so with his struggles, there's been this discussion point, right, about like, should the Falcons bench Kirk Cousins? Should they go with Michael Penix? What should the Atlanta Falcons do? And this is kind of tough for me right now, because as an Atlanta Falcon fan, I really embraced Kirk Cousins. I really wanted him to do well this season for this team. I thought mid-season, when he was swag surfing in front of the fans and he was quoting lyrics from Bankroll Fresh and all of that other good stuff, I was so excited and hyped, because I was like, man, this dude is embracing the city. This dude is embracing this football team. And we were all getting behind him, hyping him up like, yeah, Kirk, go change. Let's go, Kirk, go. And all that good stuff. And it's all come crashing down. It's like he's falling over his face right now. He's not looking good. And it's like the dude is he becoming washed right before our very eyes? I mean, I think that's something that as Falcon fans, we wonder about right now with Kirk Cousins. Is he really falling apart like this? Really? And so it's a tough time right now to be an Atlanta Falcon fan. And as a fan myself, like, I'm worried about this, because I'm like, man, are the Falcons really gonna falcon this division up and blow it in spectacular fashion, and they're gonna let Tampa Bay come back and win this division? Like, is this really gonna happen? And it's just a lot of thoughts in my mind right now. But when it comes to this decision, and as far as like what I think the Falcons should do with Kirk Cousins, in all seriousness, I think he should start this coming week against Minnesota. And I think they should give him this week. And I think he should start this week. But I also believe that Kirk Cousins' leash should be short. I think he should have a short leash. But I also think Kirk Cousins should start this weekend. And the reason why I believe that is, number one, Michael Penix. I think he has a bright future. I think he's benefiting from sitting behind Kirk and learning from him and observing what Kirk is doing on the floor. I think that's all good for him. However, if I'm going to throw Michael Penix out there, I don't want his first start to be against a Minnesota Vikings team on the road that's 10-2, that also has a very good defense. I don't think that should be Michael Penix's first start. as a rookie. I think that's a pretty tough place to start. And I don't know if I want that for Michael Penix. And so I think for Kirk Cousins, I think you should start him. And look, as horrible as Kirk Cousins has been the last 2 to 3 weeks, especially last week, I do think he has enough veteran leadership in that locker room. And I think the players respect him. And I think he's done enough good. Like, it's not like Kirk Cousins has been awful the entire season, right? Like, he's had stretches where he's looked awesome. Like, he's looked awesome. Like, he's had really good stretches. And so I think for the Falcons and for Raheem Morris, I think you kind of owe it to Kirk a little bit to just let him get out of this rut. Let him get out of this horrible slump that he's been in. And let's see if he can figure it out. Now, look, Minnesota is a tough team. It's a tough environment. Minnesota, they've had Kirk Cousins. I'm sure Kirk Cousins is probably going to get some mixed reactions. There's probably going to be some boos from the Minnesota crowd. There's probably going to be a little bit of cheers for him as well. And so I think with Kirk Cousins, like, he understands what he's going up against. He understands the environment. He understands the defense that he's going up against. And I think, for Kirk, I think you just ride with the veteran hand, and you just bank on the fact that, look, he won't look this horrible again. Now, on the flip side, if Kirk plays like this again the following week, and he throws 3 interceptions and he looks 90% as bad as he looked against the Chargers, then I don't think the Falcons are going to have any other choice but to bench him. But I don't think we're there yet. I think for Kirk, you allow him to shake it off. He's a veteran. It's not like he's played bad. Like, it's not like he's consistently been bad. Like, he's like, look, for every bad game Kirk has, like, he's shown that he's capable of bouncing back. Like, he's done it in his career. Like, he's had bad games in Minnesota, he's bounced back. He's had bad games in Washington, he's bounced back. And so I think for Atlanta, you just bank on just the veteran leadership that he has, and that he can bounce back from this showing, and that he can recover from this. And look, with Michael Penix, here's the thing with Kirk Cousins. Like, the Falcons paid this man $90 million guaranteed. It would be a bad look for the Falcons if you bench him this early. You know what I'm saying? Because now, if you bench him and you go with Michael Penix, look, Michael Penix could be really good, right? But at the same time, what happens with Kirk? What happens with Kirk Cousins next offseason? Because you probably won't be able to trade him, because that's a lot of money. And if you cut him, I think that'll be like $65 million dead cap, on the books, and that could hamper your ability to add to the team. And so it's a little bit of a bad situation. So I think for the Falcons, I think for this season, you have to just bank that Kirk Cousins can just dig himself out of this hole, and that he can recover from this. And also keep this in mind too for the Falcons. After they play Minnesota, their schedule gets a little easier. If you look at who they have next coming up, they have the Las Vegas Raiders. Their defense isn't very good. They have the New York Giants. They're not very good. They have the Carolina Panthers. Their defense is not good. And then they have the Washington Commanders, who they're a very good football team, but their defense isn't anything to write home about. So as far as like the defenses that the Falcons face moving forward, it does get a little easier after the Minnesota game, and I think Kirk Cousins can bounce back from it. And so I'm not ready to bench Kirk just yet. But he's gonna have to play better than this. Like he has to play better. Kirk Cousins has, at this point, he has to give the Atlanta Falcons a reason. He's gonna have to give Raheem Morris a reason to stick with him, because these last 3 weeks it's been a little more hard because of how he's played. Like he's turning the football over, he's fumbling the ball, he's throwing inaccurate passes. Some passes he's throwing too high or it's too low. Like earlier in that game, he had Darnell Mooney open for a touchdown and he underthrew him. And so Kirk Cousins has not stepped up as of late. But there's also still time left in the season as well for him to step up. And look, it's not going to be easy. Minnesota's very good. They're a very good team. They're 10-2. They have one of the best teams in the league. Maybe one of the top 2, 3, 4 teams in the NFC. So it's not going to be easy. No question about it. But I think for Raheem Morris, I think he kind of owes it to Kirk to just say, hey, look, Kirk, we've been on your side. We've been with you. Let's see if you can bounce back from this. Let's see if you can play better. And I think if he can do that, I think you kind of stick with him. And then whatever happens next season happens. But again, like Kirk Cousins on the flip side, he's gonna have to step up. He's gonna have to play better. And he's had stretches of where he's been good. That's the thing. And Zach Robinson, he's gonna have to. I think he has to make stuff easier for Kirk. We got to get back to running the football. Bijan Robinson, he's a stud. And by the way, he was a bright spot in that game. Stick with the run. Make things easier for Kirk Cousins. Don't allow him in a position where he has to throw the ball 30 times. Take a page out of the Philadelphia Eagles playbook in what they've done with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was struggling. He was turning the ball over, and you know what they did? They kept riding Saquon Barkley and kept riding them to the point where the Philadelphia Eagles have won 8 straight. And Saquon Barkley, like I said on the last episode, is the MVP of the NFL. And so for the Falcons, I think you just got to ride Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, get that running game going, take some pressure off Kirk Cousins, and make it simpler for him. And so I think Zach Robinson has to do a better job of making stuff easier for Kirk Cousins. And so, and look, as much as I like Zach Robinson, I think he's done a pretty good job this season as a coordinator, but that game against San Diego wasn't his best work, if we're being honest. Some of these jet sweeps that he's running on 3rd and 1 and they're getting shut down. I mean, that was not a good week for him. And so it's not completely all on Kirk Cousins. Like the Zach Robinson has to do his share as well. But again, look, for the Atlanta Falcons offense, it's on everybody. It's on everybody to perform at a high level. And it's on Zach Robinson, it's on Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, he can't turn the football over. He just can't. He has to take care of the football, and he has to make good decisions, and he has to be more accurate, because you don't want to leave the Falcons in a position where Kirk Cousins is so bad, and he's this bad, so bad to the point where you don't leave no other choice but to bench him and go at Michael Penix. And so, like I said, I think I do think the leash for Kirk should be shorter. And look, man, if he goes into the Minnesota and he's throwing 3 interceptions, then look, I don't think Raheem Morris is going to have a choice but to bench Kirk Cousins. But I am willing to give Kirk Cousins another game to see if he can bounce back from this and see if he can ride the ship and get things going a little bit. And so, like I said, I will ride with him. I think we should ride with Kirk Cousins. And if he plays good, or if he plays good enough, even if we lose, if he plays good enough, I think you just ride with him. But if he's awful, I'll go with if he's awful like he was this past weekend, then I think it might be time to go with Michael Penix. But until then, I say we ride with Kirk Cousins for the time being. And hey, let's see what happens. Let's see if they can make something happen. But that's all I got. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode.